But you got to do something like that. You gotta steal gold bars. You got to be a pirate, sail the seas. And we in the United States, we're not just doing the Iran war. We're expanding our holdings. Maybe we might take over Cuba now. And also there's the idea that we're going to purchase the Chagos Islands, and because Britain is trying to give up the Diego Garcia base there. And you're right, as if we are going to allow that to happen. So I believe Mauritius owns those island chains, and we might make a new purchase, and we're going to have this global tropical reach. We already have the Florida Keys. Maybe we extend that to Cuba to keep the Gulf of Mexico open. We don't want any foreign foe or adversary to have a foothold, whether it be China or Russia, who I'll get to in a second. We don't want them to have control over naval vessels going in and out. But we also have our South Pacific holdings. We got Hawaii in the Pacific, and we got the South Pacific Islands too. But now we can have our Indian Ocean asset, the Chagos Islands. And that's a good thing. So we should have a tropical empire under our dominion. Maybe that can be a new route flown by a revamped Spirit Airlines. Once we get that going again, we can have direct flights from Orlando or Atlanta to the Chagos Islands. It's an archipelago. Maybe some kind of bungalow construction is in order. They already don't have that. And we build a new sandals resort, or figure out a cruise ship stop for that part of the Indian Ocean. What kind of grift can we run there? What could be developed in that part of the world? And I said I would mention Russia, and there's also this idea floating around about a tunnel between Russia and Alaska. This isn't a new idea, but it was brought up once again, and this caught my attention this week. But we have to, all these places, we have to think about franchising them. Have some KFCs and resorts along the wilderness part of Alaska to service this underwater tunnel between Russia and Alaska going underneath the Bering Strait. Folks, it's absolutely incredible. I couldn't believe it either, hearing the words underwater tunnel and the Bering Strait. Maybe we create a Coca-Cola polar bear theme park. This is very much in line with my idea to turn places like the alligator Alcatraz camp they were putting illegals in. I don't know if they still are, but this was an old episode of the podcast. And I wanted to turn these camps into resorts, half prison camp, half resorts, where the illegals would be housed now, and when other governments get into power, places that you would be put. But it would be a Margaritaville resort, Jimmy Buffett themed, having the illegals float down a glass bottom, lazy river while giant alligators were swimming underneath. That was one of my ideas for it. But now we have the Chagos Island as an Indian Ocean asset. That's a new one. We've never had a place there, so we got to come up with something. Perhaps we do a reworking of Pirates of the Caribbean. We get Disney involved. It's going to be a Pirates of the Indian Ocean, a new theme, a 3D immersive experience only at the Treasure Island Hotel and Casino in the beautiful Chagos Islands. How does that sound for you? Does that sound like a new vacation? Would you hop on a 23-hour Spirit Airlines flight for this idea? Why go to Vegas? Why pay up to try to go to some World Cup match between Saudi Arabia and Cape Verde? You want to go to Houston, Texas in June? Are you out of your fucking mind?